Hello and welcome back. This is my second video in this series to warm up for Stage 8 of this year's Financial Modeling World Cup. I'm taking a look at the cases from Stage 7, and this video we're going to take a look at the second case, which is called the math problem. Let me read the introduction here for you. Congratulations! Your success as a competitor in FMWC has gained the attention of a team in the Fantasy Basketball League, and they have asked you to join their analytics team. In order to determine if you have the skills, they wanted to help solve and understand what is known as the math problem in professional basketball. The math problem is simply the fact that teams can score 2 points for some shots and 3 points for other shots. This means if a team shoots a lot of 3-point shots, they can score more points than the team that shoots 2-point shots better. 3-point shots are made less often than 2-point shots, but if a team shoots well, they can gain a big advantage. However, a team that shoots more of the 2-point shots will make them more often and be more consistent. The question is, which is better to win games? With that, you have been asked to first analyze the statistics from the most recent season and second, put a model together to determine how one team might do against another in a simulation of 500 games based on a random number simulation. The case will outline how to create the random number sets for the simulations. Basketball, like other sports and like life itself, has hundreds of variables, but we will be keeping it simple. So in the last video, I mentioned that Financial Modeling World Cup cases typically deal around finance and budgeting and financial modeling and all these kinds of things. But this one is actually taking a step away from finance, and we're looking at sports and statistics, and in this case, basketball. So if I go over to the case file, in the assumptions tab, we have a list of teams and we have several statistics about them. And these statistics are based on what they did in 2023, what they did in 2024, but then also looking at their home and away splits for each metric. We also have this scenario random arrays sheet, which we are going to use to calculate the scenarios. Instead of using Excel's random number generator, the numbers have already been created for us. So, with that being said, I will say that my goal for these second cases, I'm going to say a realistic goal is to solve these in about 40 minutes. My ideal goal, which is never going to happen, is to solve these within 30. So let's see how much time it's going to take to get through this second case within this stage. Come along with me as we find out. Here we go. All right, let's go to the question sheet. So part 1 is going to be about data set analysis. We have 10 questions on that. Question number 1. How many points from free throws did co-pilots average in 2024? How many points from free throws? So we have how many free throws attempted per game. We have a free throw percentage. Okay, so that's going to be, we're going to have to combine those two. So we're going to say this is going to be free throw points per game. That's going to be how many they attempt times their percentage in those. Delete those numbers here. So these should be single numbers. And the question was asking in 2024, Co-Pilot Titans in 2024. Co-Pilot Titans is this row, row 15. 2024 is right there. 17.18. There we go. That's going to bug me, so I'm going to fix that. All right, question number 2. How many 2-point attempts did Co-Pilot Titans have in 2024? So 2-point attempts here. So we have the field goals attempted per game. We have the percent of field goal attempts from 3-pointers. So then the opposite is going to be the percent of field goal attempts from 2-pointers. So let's copy this. Actually, I probably don't want to copy the whole thing. Let's just copy that. That's going to be fine. That's going to say 2-point attempts per game. And to do that, we are going to multiply the total number of attempts per game times 1 minus the percent of field goal attempts from 3-pointers. Because if it's not from 3-pointers, it must be from 2-pointers. So this should get us the number of 2-point attempts per game. We are looking at Co-Pilot Titans. Yes, we are. That was row 15, if I remember right. So I get this number 59.76. And there it is. All right. Question 3. What percent of field goal points did Model Masters get from 3-pointers in 2024? So we need to figure out how many field goal points they got and what percent of those came from 3-pointers. So I'm guessing, what kind of stats do we have? What kind of stats? We have 3-point scoring percent, 2-point scoring percent. Oh dear. Okay, so we have the percent of field goal attempts from 3-pointers. There might be a mathematical way to do. Let me see here. What percent of field goal points? Yeah. Okay. So what I'm thinking is we need to figure out how many field goal points they need to get, how many field goal points they got from 3-pointers. Looking forward to this 2 question. We're going to need the same thing from 2-pointers and then use percents to figure that out. All right, so that's 2-point attempts per game. Is there a question about attempts? No, it is not. We just need to know how many points they got from each. So let's do 3 points per game. And the way to do that is we need to figure out how many they shot first. So that's going to be this times this percent. So that's how many 3-point attempts they shot. And then the 3-point scoring percent is going to be that. So that's going to tell me the number that was hit. But I just don't need the number that was hit. I need to know the number of points that they got from that. So since we're looking at 3-pointers, we're going to multiply by that by 3. So that's the number of 3-point field goals per points per game from 3-point field goals. Let's do the same for 2. So what I said was to get the number of 2-point field goal shots. So total field goals times 1 minus the ones from 3-pointers. So that should be the percentage of from 2-pointers. We're going to multiply that by their scoring percent for that. So that's going to be the number of 2-pointers that they hit. Multiply that by 2 to get the number of points they got from those 2-pointers. Because the question is asking what percent of field goal points they get from 2-pointers. Let's do percent of points from 3-pointers, and this one will be percent of points from 2-pointers there. So field goal points, because there could be free throws. Percent of field goal points. There we go. Let's do that. So the total number of points is going to be this plus this. We've already multiplied it by 3 and 2 to get the total number of points. And to figure out the number of points from 3-pointers, that's going to be the denominator. That's the total points. This is going to be the numerator. And that should get us the percentage that we want. We should be able to do the same for the 2-pointer one. We just need to change the numerator into this there. There we go. And just to do a spot check, those two add up to 100. These two add up to 100, yes. Okay. And we are looking at, for question 3, Model Masters in 2024. So Model Masters, they are in row 29. We're looking at 3-pointers 2024. I get 33.39%. There we go. What percent of field goal points did Copilot Titan get from 2-pointers in 2024? We said Copilot Titan was that row? Excuse me. 15 or 16? It's 15. 2-pointers, 68.21%. And that's right there. Good. Question 5. If a team shoots 60% for 2-pointers, what is the equivalent shooting percentage for 3-pointers? That is, if a team shoots X percent from 2, what is the Y percent they have to shoot from 3 to score the same number of points? Okay. So let's say they shot 100 2-pointers, hit 60%, so that's 120 points. To get 120 points from 3-pointers, then just doing quick algebra in my head, that should be 40%. Yeah, okay. Question 6. What is the most points from 3 free throws a team had at home in 2024? Okay, so we got the points from 3-pointers, points from 2-pointers. Let's do, I want to do it there. I want to do it there because, I don't know, keeps things nice and close together. So that's free throws, points per game. And that's going to be free throws attempted. Oh, it's already there. Right there. Okay. Those are most points for free throws a team had at home. So we're going to do max. Home 2024, like that, 20.45. That checks out. Let me delete this extra information that I apparently never needed to do. All right, next question. Overall, for the whole league, what is the percent of points scored with 3-pointers as a percent of field goals in 2024? What? Overall, for the whole league, what is the percent of points scored with 3-pointers as percent of field goals? Okay, so I'm thinking what that means is, it's because it's saying field goals, so that's ignoring free throws. I think what that's saying is what percent of points were scored from 3-pointers. So we have, this is the total number of 3-pointers points per game. This is the total number of 2-pointer points per game. So in order to answer this, I think we just need to take that divided by this plus this. We get 35.45%. That's one of the answers. I'm going to click it. I also can't see my answer sheet, so I hope that's right. Question 8. How many teams attempted more 3-pointers in 2024 versus 2023? How many attempted more 3-pointers? We have 2-point attempts over there. I don't have a 3-point attempt one. Okay, let's add that. Let's add that. 3-point attempts per game. I think that's going to be easy because I think we have the total number of field goal attempts times the percent of those attempts from 3-pointers. There we go. So the question was how many teams attempted more in 24 versus 23? So this is greater than 23, so we're going to get this as trues and falses. We get 23 teams. There we go. Question 9. Of those teams, how many improved their effective field goal percentage? Okay, so this is one that I need to go back and check the instructions for. What is effective field goal percentage? Effective field goal percentage is a statistic to weigh the team's 3% and 2-point percent based on the fact that 3s are worth more than 2s. This is calculated as the total of points for field goals divided by 2 divided by the number of field goal attempts. So field goal points per game divided by 2 divided by field goal attempts. Okay, let's just see that again. Field goal points per game. So we got 3.2, we got 2 points. Let's add the total of, let's just do that here. Well, this one will be field goal points per game, and that's just going to simply be this range plus that range there. We need to figure out field goal attempts, which is just going to be adding those two together. So let me just create another set for that. Field goal attempts. Let's do 2-point attempts plus 3-point attempts. There we go. And then let me just check back the question. Effective field goal percent. All right, so I'm just gonna add another one here. That should be the two columns I need to calculate the effective field goal percentage, which was, I already forgot. My memory's really bad. That was field goal points per game divided by 2 divided by field goal attempts. Field goal points per game divided by 2 divided by field goal attempts. I'm guessing these are expressed as percentages because they're all less than 0. How many of the teams that attempted more 3-pointers? Okay. Where did I do that math? I did that math here. Let's bring that over to this one there. So I'm going to take this, put that there. I'm going to take out the sum. I'm going to bring it back to be a true-false list. There we go. And how many improve their effective field goal? So we're going to see 2024 is greater than 2023. And how many did both? 9 is what I get. 9 is the answer. Of the teams that shot less 3-pointers in 2024 compared to 2023, how many improved their effective field goal percentage? So this is how many shot more field goals? Am I right? Or more 3-point attempts? Yes. So now what we need is how many of these are false and how many of these are true. So, and this is false, this is true. I'm not going to try to do this as an array, but it's going to change this formula up a little bit. So I need to conclude the whole thing. And I get 4 this time. There we go. All right, so that is part 1 complete. Let's take a look at part 2, simple modeling. Using array 1, what is the sum of the 100 numbers starting with the 101st number in the list? Okay, 100 numbers starting with the 101st. So that's going to be 101 to 200. So sum. Just going to go to array 1. Look for 101 to 200. 101 here to 200 there. 52.2151. There we go. All right. Question 12. Using array 3, how many of the 100 numbers starting with the 1001st number of the list are less than or equal to 40%? Okay, so starting with the 1001st number. So I'm going to do countifs. I'm going to count from 1001 to 1100 in array 3. So we're going to do this range here. That's going to be greater than or equal to 1001. We're going to do that range again, but this time less than or equal to 1100. And then we're going to do array 3, and I forgot the rule. Array 3, great. Now I can't read the rule. All right, less than or equal to 40%. Okay, so less than or equal to 40%. I get 37. All right, there we go. Question 13. How many field goal attempts do Copilot Titans have? And I think this is from the model. So let me go back to the instructions and see what we have to do here. There are 6 arrays of random numbers. Each array has 2,000 numbers from 0 to 1. The first 3 arrays are for team 1. The next 3 arrays are from team 2. Question 19 and 22 only. Okay. Of each of these 3 arrays, okay, that's what the arrays do. The first array is used to determine if it's a 3-point shot or a 2-point shot. If the random number is less than or equal to the team's 3-point percent, then it's a 3-point shot. Okay, we don't need to know that. We need to know how many field goal attempts, overall field goal attempts. There are 500 scenarios provided in the model. The only difference of each scenario is the starting numbers of the 6 arrays that you will use for the calculations. For questions 13 to 18, which question am I on? 13. You will only use scenario 1 and only the first 3 arrays. Array 1 in this case will start from the 8th number. Array 2 will start from the 428th number, and array 3 will start from the 302nd number. Copilot Titans play at home in scenarios 1, 3, and 5, etc. They play away in scenarios 2, 4, and 6. Okay, so this is probably going to be I just read a lot of information that sounded pretty useful. Right, so let's just go ahead and do scenario 1, because it said these questions are based on scenario 1. Let's go ahead and team, and I think they said the team was Copilot Titans. I think so. Okay, oh yeah, the question was about Copilot Titans too. Copilot Titans. Side. So if it's an odd number, then they're going to be home. Otherwise, they're going to be away. Right? Yes. All right. Oh, here we go. Determine the number of field goal attempts Copilot Titans make in the match. Their 2024 home game statistics show the average number of field goal attempts to be 85.1. Rounding that to the nearest integer means that there will be 85 field goal attempts by Copilot Titans in the game. Okay. So it's going to be based on their statistics, their average statistics, whether it's home or away. So let's do field goal attempts. And I'm guessing that's going to come from this sheet over here. So we're going to XLOOKUP Copilot Titans in the first column, and it's going to depend on if they're home or away. So if, let's go back to if S14, yes, equals home, then we're going to do the home column here. Otherwise, we're going to do the away column there. And I think that's right. Yep, looks right. And then we're going to round that to 0 digits. Round to 0 digits. So I have 85 field goal attempts. Right. Why do I feel that that number was in the instructions as well? I'll have to go back and take a look. Question 14. How many of those are 3-pointers in this scenario? Let me go back and see the instructions. There are 85 field goal attempts. Okay. Use array 1, starting from the 8th number, to compare against the Copilot Titan's percent of field goal attempts from 3-pointers from home games. If the value from array 1 is lower or equal to the home percent threes, it's a 3-point percent, otherwise it's a 2-point percent. Okay, so let's pull up 3-point percent from the sheet. So we're going to XLOOKUP that again from this column. If, what did I say? It was S14? Yes. If S14 equals home, then we're going to return from not that column, this column here. Otherwise, we're going to return from that column there. So that's the 3-point percent, 0.33. Now we need to figure out from the array. Okay. Let's bring this over there. Let's do a start and end. So in scenario 1, let me see. The 85 field goal attempts correspond to the 85 value starting from the 8th position of array 1. Okay, so we're going to start here. So XLOOKUP, yeah, this scenario here. And I think this is going to work for all the arrays. So I'm just going to, boop, do it for all the arrays there. And then for the end, it's going to be this plus 85. But that's going to be inclusive, so I'm going to subtract 1. Not 14. There we go. So that's going to be 8 to 92. So we're going to do sequence. Rows is 92 minus 8 plus 1, starting from 8. So that's the numbers I get. How many numbers do I get? Do I get 85? Yes. Okay, so then we're going to index array 1 based on those numbers there. So we get a number there, and then we need to figure out whether these are 2 points or 1 point. So let array be that. If array is it less than or equal to, or just less than? Less than or equal to. If array is less than or equal to that 3-point percent, then we're going to count as a 3-point. Otherwise, we're going to count it as a 2-pointer. There we go. All right. This is working out well. So we're going to do 3-point attempts. It's going to be count if that is 3. 22. All right, that is an answer. Okay. What is Copilot's 3-point percentage for this game? All right, so I'm guessing this has something to do with this array. Use array 2 to compare against the Copilot Titan's 3-point percent or 2-point percent from home games. Okay, so 3-point shot percent, and then I'm going to count as 3-point hit percent and 2-point hit percent. Because if I see here, if the value for array 2 is lower or equal to the 3-point percent or 2-point percent, then a shot is made. Otherwise, it's a miss. So we need to get these 2% out here. So it's going to be pretty much this same formula there, but for 3-point hit percentages, that's going to be in this green section. So that's home, that's away. Okay, and then 2-point hit percentages is going to be in this section. So that's home and that's away. All right. So first thing we need to do is we need to pull up this array. I think I can use this same formula there. Keep that in column S. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to do this again. So the sequence is not going to be based on this array. Starting with, we're going to do the V columns here. All right. So that's the array. Ooh. Let me pull up the array up here first. Okay, so that's the array. So there's going to be, oh boy, if this array is 2, A is less than or equal to this 2-point hit percent, then it's 2. Otherwise, it's 0. If it is not 2, if A is less than or equal to this percent, then it's 3. Otherwise, it's 0. Now, we're not going to be able to check this step by step, but basically what I'm doing is, if it's a 2-point shot, check against a 2-point percent. If it's a 3-point shot, check up against a 3-point percent. All right. There are no 3-point. Oh, there are 3 points. Okay, so I have a max of 3, so that means there are 3-pointers. 3-point attempt. Actually, let's bring this down. I'm going to bring this down, so I'll keep these together. So 3-point attempt is there. 3-point hit. So how many of these are 3? 3-point percentage is that divided by this. So I get a 22.73%. Oh, that is on this list. Okay, good. All right. Question 16. What was the Copilot Titans effective field goal percent for this game? Oh boy. I forgot how to do this. All right. 3-point. Let's add 3-point points. That's going to be this times 3. And let's do the same thing for 2. All right, so 2-point attempts is going to be count if how many of these are 2. 3-point hit is going to be how many of these are 2. Percent is going to be that number divided by that number, and the points is going to be 40 times 2. All right, and I've already forgot the formula for effective field goal percentage. Effective field goal percentage, field goal points per game divided by 2 divided by field goal attempts. So it's a field goal points. It's going to be 3 points plus the 2 points. Field goal attempts. It's going to be the 3-point attempts plus the 2-point attempts. And effective field goal percentage. Field goal points per game divided by 2 divided by field goal attempts. So I get for this one a 55.88%. There we go. Question 17. How many free throws did Copilot Titans score? Free throw attempts are static. All right, let's see how to do free throw attempts. Determine the number of free throw attempts Copilot Titans make in the match. Their 2024 home game statistics show the average number of free throw attempts to be 25.4. Rounding that to the nearest integer means that there will be 25 field throw attempts by Copilot Titans in that game. Okay, so we need to take the number of free throw attempts, and that's going to be a similar formula to this. So free throw attempts are in this column. There we go. We're going to round that to 0 decimal places. There we go. What was the question? How many free throws did Copilot Titans score? Okay. The 25 free throw attempts correspond to the 25 values starting from the 302nd position of array 3. So 302nd position there. So this is going to be 302 plus free throw attempts there. Okay. I think I'm probably going to add, based on what I'm doing, is free throw hit percent. It's probably going to be something similar to this. So let's see, back to my assumptions. Free throws attempted, free throw percent is this if it's home, this if it's away. 100. Really? No, it is not 100. AC and AD. Yeah. Oh, because it's rounding. No. We don't want to round. There we go. 76%. Okay. So let me turn that back into a number because the rest of these are numbers. All right. Let's use this formula. Actually, let's use this formula. All right. So we're going to go based off of array 3. Sequence is going to be based off of these two numbers. And the percent we're going to judge against is that percent there. And we are not looking at 3s and 2s. We are looking at hits or misses. Hit is a 1, miss is 0. So, free throw hit is how many of these are 1s? And this is going to be free throw percent. It's going to be hits divided by number of attempts. And let's do free throw points. It's really just going to be the same as that. And then total points. So we got 3 free throws. We got 2-point shots. We got 3-point shots. I forgot the question. How many free throws did Copilot Titans score? They scored 21. There we go. How many points did Copilot Titans score in total in the game? I got 116. And there we go there. All right. Part 3, scenario modeling. And I think, is this we're going to have to compare the two teams? How many points in total do Copilot Titans score in the 500 scenarios? Let me just see here. Series modeling. Let's have the Copilot Titans play 500 games with model masters based on their 2024 statistics. You will need to model 500 games using the corresponding scenario start numbers on array start 1 to 3 for Copilot masters and array start 4 to 6 for model masters. Ooh, for scenario 2 starts with a 490th number in array 1 and 419th number in array 4, etc. Each scenario corresponds to 1 game. Okay, so that's where these come into play. Okay, so that's Copilot Titans. Let me just put this in bold so that's easy to see. And the other team was Model Masters. So let's put Model Masters there. If this team is home, then the other team should be away. Otherwise, they're home. Field goal attempts. This needs to go down there. So I think that all checks out fine. 3-point shot percent. Oh, I should not have locked that, because this is probably going to happen all the time. Okay. This is why I'm glad I'm checking all of my formulas. There we go. Okay, now I need to do this all again using these 3 arrays for the other teams. So this formula should generally be the same. This formula should be the same, but this is changing to the field goal attempts for model masters. There we go. The rest of this formula should be the same, except looking at the 3-point shot for model masters, and we were looking at array 4 there. Everything else should line up fine. Okay. And we'll do the same thing for array 2 based on the field goal attempts from model masters. Okay, take this formula over, but this time we're looking at the 3 and 2-point hit percent for model masters, and this is array 5 if I remember right. All right, let's move this over to array 5. Okay, and then so for array 6 we are looking at the free throw attempts from model masters, and we are going to move this to array 6 and take a look at the free throw hit percent from model masters. There we go. All right, so 3-point attempts, U42. Why is it looking at A1? That's very interesting. It should be looking at array 4 there. 3-point attempts hits, so this should be looking at array 5. 3-point percentage, that calculates. Okay, 2-point attempts, so we're looking at array 4 for when the attempt was made, array 5 from when the attempt was hit. The rest calculates out. Field goal points, that's good. Field goal attempts, that's good. EFG, that's good. Free throws hit, so that's going to look at array 6. Field throw percent. All right, we already know how many free throws were made. That's already matching up, and the total points there. Okay. So let's go ahead and model all 50 scenarios, shall we? So scenario 500. Did I say 50? I meant 500. Copilot Titans versus Model Masters, and let's figure out the scores. So their score is going to come from here. Model Master score is going to come from there. Whoops. Run the data table. Scenario number comes out of there. All right, there we go. And the question was, how many points do the Copilot Titans score? I have 58,629 points. There. Question 20. Ignoring ties, how many games do Copilot Titans win? Okay, so let's go over a bit. And let's do... Actually, let me go ahead and... I'm probably going to regret this. I'm going to copy paste that for now. I'm going to put winner. If this is larger than this, then it's Copilot Titans. If this is larger than this, then it's Model Masters. Otherwise, it's a tie. And this is the team names there. So I got 239 games for Copilot Titans. There. Question 21. Using these scenarios in order, let's have the team play a consecutive 7-game series where the first team to win 4 games wins the series, and then the new series starts. Ignoring ties, they don't count. Determine the team that wins the most series. What is the percentage of series that they win? Okay, so this now is going to look at series win-loss. All right, this is going to be fun. So, and then champion. So what I'm thinking here is, if there is a champion, so XLOOKUP, there are 7-game series, so a champion wins 4 games. So if I see a 4 in either of these cells, return their names. If not, return nothing. So if there is a champion, then we're going to start with 0. Otherwise, we're going to start with a cell above this, and then plus this equals the team name up there. All right, and let's go ahead and lock AE3. That can stay. That's, ooh. We don't need to lock the row with that. Why is it coming up with a value error? Does that work? That does work. Okay. Let's just check if all my cells are locking where I want them. Yes. Oops. Okay, so let's bring all these columns down. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that is good. All right, so Copilot Titan wins the first series 4-1. Copilot Titan wins the second series 4-3. Model Masters wins the third series 4-0. Okay, so now we're going to count if how many times the champion are one of these two teams there. So Copilot wins the championship 40 times. Model Masters wins 43 times. The question is, what is the percent of series that they win? Okay. And do they want determine the team that wins the most series? So the team that wins the most series is Model Masters. They won 51.81% of the series. There we go. All right, final question. Basketball is all about making shots, but sometimes a team can win even if their effective field goal percent is less than the other teams. In the 500 games, determine the number of games each team wins when the other team has the higher effective field goal percent. Type in the number from 0 to 500. Okay. Did I lock those? I did lock those. So we know how many, which team wins the game. We just need the effective field goal percent. So let's do these two again. This is effective field goal percent. And let's go ahead and Copilot Titan's effective field goal percent is there. Model Master's effective field goal percent is there. All right. Run through this data table again. Okay, and then we'll do higher EFG percent. If this number is greater than this number, then it's Copilot Titans. If this number is greater than this number, it's Model Masters. Otherwise, it's a tie. There we go. Okay, so now we see who's got the higher field goal percentage in each game. We have the winner of each game. The question says, Each team wins when the other team has a higher effective field goal percent. Right, so we have the higher effective field goal percent. We have the winner. Are there any ties in the field goal percent? I don't think so. Okay. Alright, so we need to see. This is question 22. Count? Question mark? So this doesn't equal tie. This doesn't equal tie. And then this doesn't equal this. So the first one we're not counting. This one we're not counting. This one we're not counting. Which one do we start counting? Apparently we start counting this one. Yes. Okay. So let's count how many trues we get. Count if the trues there. I get 54 trues. Let's paste that in. And there we have it. So, I hit my realistic goal, which my realistic goal, like I said, was to get under 40 minutes. I didn't hit my optimistic goal, but let's be honest, that was very optimistic. And I definitely wasn't going to be able to hit that as I'm trying to explain what I'm doing, even though, yes, I know there were sometimes I didn't fully explain what I was doing. But anywho, it is nice to get a challenging case like this that kind of takes a step away from finance, especially because, you know, someone like me, I don't work in finance, but I do enjoy sports. I do enjoy data. I do enjoy like these kinds of calculations. So although I think I missed the final few questions when doing this live, it was really fun doing it here today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a bit out of it. If you did, do be sure to give me a like. As I mentioned before, I don't often put these videos up because there's a lot more esports cases than there are financial modeling cases, but I do try to get around to them when I can, especially when, you know, the new stage is coming up and I need further practice. So keep an eye out for those videos. But until then, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.
It's the Excel world.